All right. I am your host, Shane, with Bitcoin Crypto News Online, formerly known as Mountain Crypto. And I wanted to give you a quick update. I think we've got some good news to talk about. I think everybody's happy. I did a quick little congratulations to everybody while I was out on the road a couple days ago. But we are looking at potentially a 100K Bitcoin price. That is next, but when? That is the question, right? So I will go into the charts. We will dig in. We will look at some price predictions. I'll give you a little bit of news. So let's get straight to the subtitle. We talked about that 100K Bitcoin price. So let's get right into it. We rallied toward 95K. As we see here at cointelegraph.com, Brajaman Tamalia, however you say that, is the credited with this article here with a lot of the things that we're already aware of. Maybe you're not aware of all of the things that have happened here that could have pushed this value up, but in the last day, 24 hours or so-ish, we have seen Bitcoin push up and up and up, and there is a sale pressure at 97K. We'll talk about what that could or couldn't mean, but Bitcoin has decoupled from the stock market for the most part. Stock market was going down. Bitcoin is now going up. So this is paving the way to a $100,000 retest. I hope we blow past that soon. Could be a few more weeks, could be several more weeks. We will talk about that. Long-term holders, people who've held Bitcoin more than 155 days, have increased their allocation by some 363,000 Bitcoin since February. The Bitcoin sharks, they're not the whales, they're a little bit smaller, have absorbed nearly 300% of the yearly issuance. In other words, more than 3 times the amount of Bitcoin that were created this year. So if you don't know about Bitcoin being created, there's only a million left to be created. So in the next, 40 years or so. So this is an interesting phenomenon about Bitcoin. Only 21 million. It's good news. It's a limited asset. They cannot just keep printing and printing like the government does. The 96K level here, Axel Alder Jr., who's a Bitcoin researcher, told us the strongest resistance right now is at $96,100. He said on an X post that at that level, the final resistance for coins that have been held 3 to 6 months, where a target of 100,000 opens up. Basically what he's saying is there might be some people who want to sell. They're like, oh boy, it's almost 100K. I didn't want to be into Bitcoin forever. I just want to get rich tomorrow. So they may sell when we hit 100K again. So we'll just have to shake all those people out of the market. But we've got a lot of good news to talk about. There's so many good things happening. I don't know why anybody would sell right away at 100,000. When 200,000 is a lot more likely case within the next, whoever knows, maybe 12 months, who knows? Not investing advice, right? All right, so according to the cost basis, there are 392,000 Bitcoin with an average cost of $97,000. So that means some of those people probably thought when they bought that it was going to go up to 200,000 right away. Then it dropped and they are just like, oh no, I got to sell. I got to break even. I got to get out. I don't like this. So that could happen. Whoops. Catapulted it out of there quicker than I wanted. I want to show you some of these other charts. So here's that chart that supports that right there. An anonymous trader at Easy Bitcoin emphasized Bitcoin's price action in the recumulation phase is playing out beautifully. The chart indicated continual strength with 3 price targets. Okay, if we get past that $97,100, this is next, right? One is $131,000, that's target one, $144,900, target two, and $166,700. So a lot of people have predicted that once we get over the original last all-time high of 109,000, that 120K to 140K are in play. And that is what the charts would be showing, according to a lot of analysts. Okay. Wyckoff patterns point to possible accumulation by large players, signaling an upward trend for Bitcoin as the market absorbs supply and prepares for an uptrend. And man, is there going to be an uptrend. Did you know that right now Brazil is looking at having Bitcoin as part of their national strategy, and the amount that they are going to buy to get what they want is, again, many times more multitudes than the amount of Bitcoin that is produced each year. So if you have America wanting to do that, you have Brazil, the 19th biggest economy in the world is Brazil. A lot of people don't realize what a big economy Brazil is. This is going to be substantial. So this is something that we all look forward to. So let me just take you through some of the good news. I told you about Brazil. That's huge. The ETFs, people are piling back into the ETFs. So sovereign wealth funds piling into BTC or Bitcoin as retail exits, according to Coinbase executive. The strategy head of strategy at Coinbase Institutional compared Bitcoin to gold and said many traders are now viewing it as a hedge because they've seen it decouple. But if you've been around Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, you've seen it kind of follow the stock market, and everybody's like, oh, it's following the stock market. And then all of a sudden gold goes up. People are like, oh, look, it's still following the stock market. It's terrible. It went down. And then all of a sudden it decouples and it goes up and it starts to act like gold. It kind of has lagged behind gold when gold goes up, is what I've seen the last couple cycles. So what else? Traders are pouring into leverage ETFs. These are the funds, the traded funds that contain Bitcoin, and $1 billion of inflows practically on April 22nd, according to this article here at cointelegraph.com. So Bitcoin holders hold back profit and wait for 100,000. We talked about that. That could be a little bump in the market as we go up at 97,000. Price predictions there, if you want to see that. Bretton Woods Institution must reorientate, U.S. Treasury Secretary says. Well, that's just the currency weakness and America having to do something to increase the strength of our currency because other countries are not as interested in it. We are losing America is losing its strength in the world with its currency, and for good reason. Bitcoin ETF inflows top 500 times the 2025 average. That is amazing. It says here in the next article, forget the bull or the bear. Bitcoin is in a new era. Online analyst James Check says. And this is because we are going to reach hyperbolic momentum for Bitcoin as all these nations pile on and all these companies pile on and all these states and all these cities. Riot Platform secures $100 million in Bitcoin-backed loans from Coinbase. More Bitcoin getting tied up. Blockchain prediction markets offer new hope for scientific validation. Why is Bitcoin price going up? We talked about some of that. We're going to go into that even more. Michael Saylor has bought more Bitcoin day before yesterday, I believe it was. Several billion or millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. I think he bought a few hundred. $635 million liquidated in 24 hours as trader predicts $100,000 Bitcoin short squeeze. So we will see crypto market sees 635 million liquidations as Bitcoin surges past $94,000. So traders are eyeing a potential short squeeze at about 100,000 or toward that. So that's another reason we might see a drop in the price. Here's $912 million in ETFs for Bitcoin. ETFs. So it just goes on and on and on. Seemed like there was something else here. Cantor plans $3 billion crypto venture with SoftBank, Bitfinex, and Tether, which, you know, those companies all are going to hold a little bit of Bitcoin too. The new Fed chair was sworn in today. The man in charge, replacing Gary Gensler. So that's good news. Analysts target $95,000 K Bitcoin as Trump trade war cools due to Bitcoin futures. Do Bitcoin futures agree? Well, we talked about that $97,000. Bitcoin price prepares for 70 to 80% price gains as on-chain metrics and spot Bitcoin and ETF inflows spike. It just goes on and on and on. Institutional demand can push Bitcoin past 200,000 in 2025. And these are analysts, professionals that, you know, look at these charts and figure out how to kind of see how the market is. They're not always right, and the timing's not always perfect, but just amazing. Just amazing. Look at all this good news. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. All right. So I think we've looked at enough news there that we have. I did have. Okay, global M2 money supply is way up. If America lowers the interest rates, this is just going to accelerate this even more. According to Crypto Slate, you can subscribe to them and get the same newsletter if you like, cryptoslate.com. Crypto markets are buzzing as global M2 money supply trends hit. Potential Bitcoin price surges with analysts pointing to historical patterns showing that Bitcoin tends to rally approximately 90 days after the global money supply increase. The correlation between global M2 and Bitcoin price is not always consistent with other variables also that impact Bitcoin's movement, but concerns about XPR ledger developers face a security breach with compromised developer kit that could lead to a private key theft. So stay tuned for developments on that. If you have a lot of XRP, might want to put that in cold storage. All right, I think that's it. The global crypto market here, according to this article, is $2.92 trillion. I think it's up over $3 trillion right now. Bitcoin market dominance is 63.4%. Ethereum's inching up. I think it's 1,800 right now. Dominance at 7.4%, according to this. Let's look at the charts. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me what you want to hear about. Check out my video on gold is trash and Bitcoin is going to devalue gold potentially in the future. Take a look at some of the older videos. I've got price predictions on $47 billion or million dollar Bitcoin, how that works. That is actually something I came up with, but others have done the same thing. It's nothing spectacular, but if you want to check it out and see how I came up with the numbers, you can check out that video. I've got some videos on solar mining and on some of my mining units. If you're interested in that part of it, you can look those up as well. But just like and subscribe. I appreciate that. All right, here we are at CoinGecko.com. Bitcoin at $93,361. Looking pretty green on these charts. That's looking for the 24-hour. The day, we're seeing a little dip right here. If you listened to my last live stream a couple of days ago, we did talk about a potential correction. I have seen typically the price over the last few weeks of Bitcoin's gone up on the weekend and then kind of some correction and down going on during the week. This week, it's been a lot more up than down. So let's see how it does tomorrow and Friday. And hopefully we can at least maintain this $90,000 range here. And then in the next couple weeks, maybe we can pick up and start pushing that $97,000 resistance that we talked about earlier. You can see Ethereum here is up close to 1,800, getting some of its money back. So if you bought Bitcoin or Ethereum at 2,000, you're probably bummed. Yeah, I've been selling out of most of my Ethereum and trading it for other stuff right now, mostly going into Bitcoin. I did that, I don't know, about 3 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. All right, so you can see the market cap right here, $3 trillion for all the top listed coins. This is what we're looking at. Not investing advice, but I want to see this hit 4,000 or 5,000. It's got to hit 3,000 before altcoins even start to snivel, okay? And so almost all that money is in the Bitcoin capitalization. Right here, the market cap is 1,853,000. So you can see that is like almost 2/3 of the market is in Bitcoin capitalization. Almost, not quite, but almost. So that is impressive. Let's look at the charts here of Bitcoin and see what that looks like. And then we'll go look at some other charts. You can see this cup and handle right here. I have been hypothesizing that where you see this line right here, that this dent right here is actually the same as this dent right here, okay? Or I should say this dent, whoops, right, shoot, that stupid label. Right here in this market, and then right here in this market here where that dot is right there. So I believe that this is going to go up quite a bit higher than what this chart allows for right now, and that we will see that very, very soon. Let's take a look at 3 month. A lot of times 3 month gives us a good story if we're doing good or bad. This is kind of a bull right here, and you see these lows right here. We need to see some higher lows. So when we drop down, we do not want to come back down into these areas anymore. We need to stay definitely above these. If we could stay in the 90,000 bracket, it would be stellar. But as long as we don't go back down into the 75, 76,000, I would say, I don't even want to see it go down in this range right here, which is like 80 or 79,000. I wouldn't want to see it even go in there. In here, there's another little low right here of about 80,000. I don't want to see it even go in there. So hopefully that's what happens. We'll have to see. Here is the timechaincalendar.com. Why is this so good? Well, you can tell how many blocks are being solved. Also, you can see that there is, for $1 US, you get 1,075 Satoshis. Satoshis of Bitcoin are 1/1,000,000th of one Bitcoin. It takes 100 million Satoshis to make one complete Bitcoin. So get some Satoshis, because when Bitcoin is $100 million, then those will be worth $1 a piece. So $1 will be worth over $1,000 when that happens, okay? All right, fear and greed. We've catapulted. We were neutral this morning, but we've already catapulted to 63. Yeah, I don't know. Usually when this gets up into greed, especially extreme greed, that's when people take profit. So maybe we're seeing some profit taking right now, a little bit here and there. So we'll just have to see how that goes. All right, let's look at altcoins before we do our price prediction. Altcoin season. I think, again, I'm sticking with the same old story. If you have some altcoins that you believe in, this is a very, very sketchy market. Will things go 100x like crazy and 10x like crazy like they did in 2020 or 2018 or 2019, those other markets where it was just altcoin insanity? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not, because it just hasn't really been happening that as big. We haven't seen it. It could still come. But either way, put in your stop loss. Your stop loss. Don't let these things tank and lose all your money that you invested in, and make sure you're investing in some good projects. All right. Now we're going to look at our price predictions. All right, according to coincodex.com, I have all the price predictions here. Right now, We've got our Bitcoin at $93,484. The 5-day prediction is $15,000 Bitcoin. That sounds good. Now, this is based on the 50-day and the 200-day moving average and the 14-day relative strength index, the fear and greed, other charts and indicators to give us an outlook of where it could go. So this tells us that it's a positive direction, okay? Doesn't mean that we're going to be there in 5 days. Nobody can predict 100%. But as long as the next 5-day prediction is higher, then you have some positive potential within those indicators. When it drops, this means that according to the time calendar and the charts and everything else, that there might be a drop, okay? And you'll notice another drop in 3 months, and then you see the 6-month predictor, 142, 143. So this could happen. We could just be getting a short-term bump, and we still have a long road to go, another 3 months until fall before we hit our all-time highs. After 3 months, that's a possibility. The one thing that we did see in the Elliott chart, or the Elliott wave, was that, and I did a video on this, that we had, I think it was 8 to 14 weeks or something like that. And now I think we're the last video I did was 2 to 8 weeks. So right now, I think we have pushed into that upswing that we saw from the Elliott wave formation, and it could go up higher in this next month, I would say. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. So yeah, those are some good predictions. ETH also looking quite positive, as it may crank up to $2,000 per ETH, really topping out at about 1,800 here. And then if we do have a late rally about 3 to 6 months from now, could push the envelope of $3,000. Nowhere near what we were predicting. Many people were predicting a minimum $4,000 Ethereum and a 5 to 6 being more likely. That is looking very unlikely right now. So that's a bummer. Ethereum is just not as wonderful as Solana and some of the other platforms, and the gas is still expensive, and they want to make some changes, but it's going to take time. So yeah, be careful, be careful. Dogecoin up to 17 cents, that's good. If you're mining Dogecoin, that's always good news. Everything pretty much up on the market. So that's all I got for you right now. I hope you got some good news from that. There's several other big corporations that are dumping into Bitcoin and buying. So there's just so much pressure on Bitcoin right now. It's all getting gobbled up. The only people that aren't buying right now, according to the statistics, is retail. For the most part, retail's not buying. But all the whales are, all the institutionals are, all the other country states and nation states and all that are buying. So, you know, you do what you think you got to do. I buy Bitcoin every day. And the way I do it is I do have a miner. I have several miners. I mine a little bit of Bitcoin. It's not, you know, real profitable with my electric, but I have some solar, so I am using some solar. That helps. And they have been making a little heat in the bedroom, one of the units. So I have some other kind of ideas for crypto mining to kind of save on energy and stuff like that. So, and to get other value out of the mining. So that's something that I may be talking about in the future. And that's all I got for you. Have a great day. Goodbye.